Hello everyone and welcome to Moementum channel. In this video, I'm going to share my top 5 largest positions and holdings in my stock investing portfolio that I have with Wealthsimple Trade. These 5 different stocks actually form about close to 27% of my entire portfolio. Although there are 5 out of roughly about 50 different positions that I have in this portfolio, you can see that a large portion of my investments goes into those. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to reveal those 5 top holdings and talk about their returns so far, as well as talk to walk you through, how I'm going to treat these positions, whether I'm going to add to my existing investments in these 5 different stocks or whether I would be selling them, and what is my investing strategy when it comes to these 5 unique investing stocks in the stock market in the months to come. As you can see here, I'm logged on here to my Wealthsimple Trade account, and since the last video that I did for my Wealthsimple Trade account, I've deposited some more funds, but you can see this portfolio is now sitting closer to 19,000 in terms of overall value. Just a reminder that I do have, of course, other investing accounts, but Wealthsimple Trade is one of those unique accounts where I have that I'm actively investing, where I do select the stocks that I want to invest in, and I decide which stocks I want to buy, which stocks I want to sell. I do have other investing portfolios where there is more of a passive investing, as well as some more other active investing with Questrade. But for the focus for us for this video, we are focusing on Wealthsimple Trade, and the stocks here that we're going to talk about actually consist of both potentially Canadian stocks as well as US stocks. Those are the 2 types of stocks that I do invest in. I do invest as well in the exchange traded funds, but as you could guess it, they are not making it to the top 5 largest positions I have. In fact, the top 5 largest positions I have are unique stocks that I think you're going to find very interesting. Looking at the largest position in my portfolio, it is actually no surprise that it's Tesla. And although here in this portfolio, I'm only owning 2 shares of Tesla, and it does not sound as much, still this is the largest position in my portfolio given the stock price for the Tesla stock. Now, I do have shares of Tesla stock in my other accounts outside of Wealthsimple, but given the focus of this video, which is on my Wealthsimple Trade, I'm focusing on that. So let's scroll down to Tesla stock and discuss how we are doing here. So as you can see here, we have 2 shares of Tesla. Tesla was last traded at the price of $609.99. In the last trading day, which was last Friday, the stock was down by 2.72%, or roughly about $17.08. Nonetheless, because our average purchase price for the shares of Tesla is sitting at $447.11 USD, we are showing an overall return of 36.43% return. This is quite impressive, I would say, given the fact that I didn't actually buy the shares of Tesla stock that long ago. In fact, it hasn't been that long, so I'm quite pleased with the return for the 2 shares of stock, 2 shares of Tesla stock that we have in this portfolio so far. Looking at a number of other details, you can see the 52-week high price for Tesla shares. We're sitting at $654. Roughly, and the 52-week low price was sitting at $70. So that's just quite exciting for those of you who own more shares of Tesla and probably picked up some of those shares at much lower prices. Great for you guys. And for me, when it comes to Tesla stock, I don't plan to sell my shares. In fact, as I mentioned, I have more shares of Tesla in other portfolios, mostly with Questrade, and do intend to keep them for the long run. And if I get to have more funds on the side, I would most likely add to my shares of Tesla along the way once the stock price kind of cools off a little bit. I think the realization that I've come to most recently is that if you're owning perhaps shares of electric cars or a company in any sector, maybe it's not a bad idea if you share the best of the best in that sector. And definitely, without any shadow of doubt, Tesla is one of the best companies when it comes to electric vehicles, when it comes to using electric power for different usage, when it comes, whether it's about electric vehicles, whether it comes about electric powered homes or other technology. It's one of the most innovative companies that I've known, and definitely I am very bullish about Tesla stock long term. If I have more funds, obviously I would add to my shares. There's no doubt that Tesla stocks, at least on a cost basis level, it's quite pricey. 600 plus US dollars is quite expensive, especially for me based here in Canada. If you convert it to Canadian dollars, it's almost 800 to 900 dollars. So you got to be really wise how you want to invest and have enough funds on the side to add to your positions. Anyway, that's our largest position in this portfolio, which is doing quite well, I must say. Let's take a look at our second largest position in this portfolio, and that's no other company but Royalty Pharma, whereby we have 28 shares of them. This is one of those companies where actually we are seeing a negative return for it. Let's dive deeper and take a look and see how we are doing for that. As you notice here, Royalty Pharma was last traded at $42.41 USD. It actually was down big last trading day. It was down 6.17%. So we were in a positive zone, but given the last trading day huge decline of 6%, we are now in the negative territory. You can see our overall return is right now is sitting at negative 3.42%. Our average purchase price for shares of Royalty Pharma is sitting at $43.91. Looking at the 52-week price range for Royalty Pharma, the 52-week low price is at $34.80, and the 52-week high price is sitting at $56.50. Royalty Pharma operates as a funder of innovation across the biopharmaceutical industry and collaborates with various innovators from academic institutions, research hospitals, and non-for-profit through small and mid-cap biotechnology companies. In other words, they do fund various pharmaceutical companies and for various research when it comes to pharmaceutical, and through that they get a portion of royalty from those pharmaceutical companies once their products are actually marketed and sold out in the markets. Within their portfolio, they have they receive royalties from some major companies such as AbbVie, Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, Biogen, Gilead, Merck, Novartis, and a number of other pharmaceutical companies. Royalty Pharma does pay a dividend, and it sits close to 1.4% at this time. When it comes to Royalty Pharma, I do intend to again hold on to my shares. I find Royalty Pharma, based on my research, a great company, and I think it is actually has the potential to go back to its 52-week high price in the next 12 months. In fact, although many analysts have changed their ratings recently for Royalty Pharma to a hold from a buy, nonetheless, their 12 months average price for the Royalty Pharma is sitting closer to $51 USD. With that said, I do intend to add to my positions of Royalty Pharma when the stock price dips. So in this case, because I'm currently at the negative territory, sitting at negative 3.42%, I actually want to go ahead, as you can see here. Let's just show. I'm going to go ahead and put a limit buy order. I usually tend to not buy stocks at the market buy because that's just so unpredictable. And a lot of times I've noticed with the Wealthsimple Trade, when you put an order at the market buy, for some strange reasons, I find that the fulfillment price for that purchase might not be exactly at the price that the stock is traded at the time, because there's about 15 minutes delay. So maybe that's the reason. So I've really had a lot more success with putting a limit buy, actually picking a price that I'm comfortable to buy the shares for any stocks, and then sitting it on it. And a lot of times I put the order for a 90-day purchase period. So in other words, if at any point the stock reaches that level at the stock price that I'm comfortable buying with in the range of that 90 days, it's automatically going to be fulfilled. So I would be a happy investor because that was the price that I was comfortable with. So for Royalty Pharma, I think I'm more comfortable to put a limit buy order at this stage, picking the price of $40 US and putting an order for 1 shares. And as I mentioned, it's a limit buy. So let's go ahead. The market is now closed, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead. You can see with Wealthsimple Trade, they do charge 1.5% transaction fee. This is a fee for conversion of your Canadian dollars to US dollars, because this is a US stock, and that's how they make money. If you buy shares of any Canadian stock, you're not going to pay that fee, and it's going to be totally free for you. So this is the cost, 77 cents for that conversion. As I mentioned, the total cost would roughly come to $52 Canadian dollars. So I'm going to place this order, but I'm also going to check the box to keep this order open for the next 90 days. This way I don't have to worry about this stock order getting canceled after 1 trading day if it's not fulfilled. So this is going to stay open for 90 days. At any point, as I mentioned, if the stock price is reaching that level, it's going to be automatically bought for me and added to my account. So I'm going to place that order. You can see the order has been sent, and it's going to be open for the next 90 days. Now moving on and looking at our third largest position in our Wealthsimple Trade portfolio, here we have Air Canada, and for Air Canada we have a large portion of stocks. I would say closer to actually sitting at 45 shares of Air Canada. You can see here that we have now 45 shares of Air Canada. Our average purchase price for Air Canada shares is sitting at $19.12 and $19.12 Canadian dollars, and you can see the last trading price for Air Canada is $26.16. That gives us a total return of 36.84%, and it's unrealized gain of $316.95 Canadian. Air Canada's 52-week low price was at $9.26, but its 52-week high price was at $52.71. So Air Canada still has a lot of room to grow if it were to reach its 52-week high price. My anticipation is that hopefully as the economy starts to open up gradually, especially with the vaccines now available and the pandemic situation getting under control, I do think there's still a lot of pent-up demand for traveling for folks. Definitely, I think airlines companies such as Air Canada and a lot of discretionary spending companies are going to benefit from it. In my opinion, Air Canada is going to be benefiting from that. That being said, that I'm patient. I do consider myself a patient investor when it comes especially to some of the more riskier stocks such as Air Canada, because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty along the way. We don't know quite well how this is going to pan out, and whether the effectiveness of the vaccines or how people are actually going to really go back to their old habits of really traveling as much, or maybe it's not going to be, the demand is not going to be as much as it used to be. That said, with a longer term horizon with Air Canada, I'm comfortable to have these shares. If the Air Canada stocks continue to drop, I'm definitely personally not going to sell my shares at this time. In fact, I'm comfortable. If it continues to drop for any reasons, I will probably continue to add into my shares and build up my position to a much larger position. And in fact, if it even goes below the $19 levels, I'm not going to be worried about that. In fact, I would continue to add to my shares, and that's something that I would definitely even welcome at this stage. In fact, Air Canada stocks have gone up by a massive 64% within the span of the past 2.5 months since the beginning of October. That's just a massive, amazing gain for Air Canada, and investors actually took advantage of the decline in the share prices for Air Canada. Moving on, the fourth largest position in my stock investing portfolio with Wealthsimple Trade is a company no other than Fastly. Fastly offers powerful cloud solutions to websites and app developers. This allows websites to be optimized for security, speed, and scale, so businesses can transform to compete in today's markets. Fastly was last traded at the price of $95.69 USD. It was last down by 1.20%. We own 9 shares of Fastly at an average purchase price of $80.95 USD. This shows an overall return of 18.21% or $132.64. All right, looking at the 52-week price for Fastly, the 52-week high price for it has been $136.50, and the 52-week low price has been at $10.63 USD. I do not intend to add to my existing shares of Fastly at this time unless it dips below my current average purchase price. That being said, I am comfortable to sell my shares of Fastly, the 9 shares that I have, if the stock price reaches close to its 52-week high price of $136 US dollars. I've noticed that the Fastly stock can be quite volatile. In fact, it's happened already a couple of times that the stock has had a very good run, and then since then has declined drastically, and those huge declines have been a massive opportunity for many investors to buy at those levels. So I'm comfortable to sell it closer to maybe perhaps $120 or $130 if it ever reaches that levels, and potentially then wait for another dip to add back and buy back the shares at a much lower levels if that ever happens. And again, with the stock market, there's that level of uncertainty. You can't time the market. Nonetheless, sometimes with some stocks, I'm comfortable with playing my cards and trying to take advantage of those ups and downs of the markets. Right, the fifth and last largest stock position in my Wealthsimple Trade Stock Investing Portfolio is a company no other than Pfizer. Pfizer is a company that probably many of you are familiar with. They have been in the news most recently, obviously given their success in developing the vaccines and the fact that they're distributing the vaccines to many countries as we speak. So definitely it's one of those companies that I personally feel very good about them, not only from a stock market investing perspective, but I also feel very good about the company in terms of the great cause that they are after and the fact that they have developed and spent a lot of time and effort in researching and coming up with a treatment to the situation that we are dealing with right now. So Pfizer is one of those great companies that I intend to hold on for the long term. I do not tend to sell the stocks. Or even though the fact that the stock has already almost hit its close to 52-week high price, so maybe it might not go any higher than that anytime soon, or in fact it might actually cool off just as it did in the past trading day. You can see in the past trading day it went down by 1.46%. I have 19 shares of Pfizer and my average purchase price for Pfizer stock is at $32.15. That shows overall total return of 27.92% for my shares of Pfizer. Pfizer does pay a decent dividend that is currently sitting at 3.70% annual. That being said, given the fact that I've picked up my shares of Pfizer at a lower price, my dividend yield is actually at a higher level. So I'm quite pleased with that, holding on to these 19 shares for the next several years. Kind of collecting that roughly about 4% dividend per year. I think it's a decent return and it's a great company. And as I mentioned, I do feel really good about this company and the fact that they've actually come up with a solution that is going to save millions of lives. So with that said, I'm comfortable with holding on to my shares. If the shares of Pfizer continues to drop, perhaps cool off and get closer to I would say $37 or $38, I might add to my existing shares and pick up more shares of Pfizer, but that is to be seen, and we'll keep an eye on that stock. Pfizer stock, for many of you who might be interested, I don't consider them, to be honest, as a growth stock, and in fact I think that's many investors are aware of that. It's one of those companies that is very well established. It does pay a decent dividend, and it's from a volatility of the stock, it is not as volatile. So it's considered to be one of those safer blue chip stocks that you can invest in and hold on to their shares for a longer term. Expect to get decent returns, but not like a an amazing return in a year. Probably I'm very fortunate because I picked on more shares of Pfizer stock at the time that the stock price was lower. So my shares were closer to its 52-week low prices. Hence, I'm seeing a decent return in a span of less than a year. That said, usually you can expect a huge return from a share from Pfizer stock. If you are more into growth stocks from a pharmaceutical type of companies, I think AbbVie or Bristol Myers or perhaps even shares of Moderna are the ones that you might wanting to take a look at. That said, I'm comfortable with 19 shares of Pfizer stock that I have in my portfolio. Going to continue to hold on to them and see where it takes us. There you have it, folks. These are the 5 largest positions that I have in my portfolio. As I mentioned, these 5 stocks alone are kind of forming close to 27 to 30% of my overall holdings in my Wealthsimple Trade stock. As you saw, it's close to $19,000 portfolio here. I definitely intend to grow this portfolio to a much larger portfolio with my active investing portfolio here in Wealthsimple Trade. I hope you guys found this video beneficial. If you did, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might benefit from this video as well. Do let me know, by the way, in the comment section below. Do you have any of these shares that we talked about in your portfolio? What are some of your largest positions in your stock investing portfolio? I would love to hear from you, and I do go through each and every comment, and I promise you I'm going to respond to them. If you haven't done that already, please subscribe to Moementum channel. Here on Moementum, we post weekly videos about stock market investing, personal finance, and financial freedom. With that being said, have a great day and hope to see you next time.